Welcome back to the channel. This is Oblivion and we're here with a new legendary banner reaction. Now I have no idea who it could really be. Maybe we get like a male Corrin or male Robin, some of the units we've been waiting on for a long time. Or maybe even like Sother Soren, I don't know. Maybe we even get like an engaged legendary already. I wouldn't put it past IS, they've done some crazy stuff before. Let's just jump in and see what we actually got. It's Robin. Okay, not a surprise. I don't know how I feel about this art. I'm not gonna lie, the art looks a little bit iffy. There's male Robin though, after so long. Earth Legendary gives defense green tome. So it is a green legendary. That's not much of a surprise. It's either gonna be green or colorless. The art, I don't know how I feel. I feel like it's kind of iffy. Like the face looks a little bit off, but the armor looks really cool. I think people are gonna be kind of mad though that it's not Levin Sword Robin after like 10 years. So we got some new stuff here. I see Canto Control. I see Seal Attack 4. Ooh, okay. Let's start off with the top of the Master Tactics. We have Accelerate Special Trigger -1. At start of turn, if unit's HP is greater than or equal to 25%, grants Grand Strategy to unit and allies within 2 spaces for 1 turn. Inflicts attack speed, defense, and resistance -4 on unit through its next action, and inflicts attack -6 on the highest and second highest stat of values between attack, speed, defense, and resistance for each ally within 2 spaces through their next actions. Subtract 15 from attack when comparing. Wow. At start of turn, if unit's HP is greater than or equal to 25%, inflicts attack speed, defense, and resistance -3 on closest foe and foes within 3 spaces of those foes through their next actions. At start of combat, if unit's HP is greater than or equal to 25%, inflicts attack speed, res -5 on foe during combat, and foe cannot make a follow-up attack. Okay, so first of all, we have Slaying. Then we have Grand Strategy. So Grand Strategy is the name of the effect that Duocrom puts out with his duo skill, right? It's essentially a unity effect, an omni unity effect that affects all stats. What this is essentially going to do is it's going to give all allies within 2 spaces a unity effect and inflict a -4 penalty to each stat on them. And then after that, it's also going to check for all the allies within 2 spaces, and whoever has the highest attack, speed, defense, and resistance, the top 2 within 2 spaces get -6 to that stat. So essentially going to make them stronger in their most powerful stat. And then if your HP is greater than or equal to 25%, you're going to inflict -3 to all stats to the closest foe, and then all foes within 3 spaces of that unit. So it's essentially going to be like a spreading debuff you can put on. Nice little debuff, not too bad. And then he's pretty much going to get -5 attack speed and resistance on the foe if his HP is greater than or equal to 25%. So that's effectively +5 to all stats. And then lastly, he gets a follow-up denial. We have seen this with Duocrom's duo skill, right? And it's pretty good. It's not like broken by any means though, right? But being able to give it out every single turn is really strong, especially if you are stacking debuffs. Like if this was with Fallen Ike, this is so good. Like this is like Fallen Ike's new best friend essentially. He's going to double up on all the unity effects, and he's going to get like massive minuses on all of his stats, which is going to just skyrocket his stats up to 1 billion. So that's really powerful with things like that, and it's going to be good with other units who are using unity-esque effects, right? So that's going to be pretty good. The debuff honestly is okay. It's not like super strong. We've seen much more powerful debuffs, right? We've seen like Yoon, where you can kind of like hit one person and then it spreads everywhere, but it's much more than -3. So that's decent. And then the follow-up denial is okay. I don't see a guaranteed follow-up attack quite yet. It might be in his preference A skill, so we'll check that out. But if he doesn't have a guaranteed follow-up attack, he better be fast, because if not, he's going to be in trouble. Okay, let's move on to his preference A skill, part of the plan. At start of combat, if unit's HP is greater than or equal to 25%, inflicts attack, speed, and resistance -8 on foe, and grants attack, speed, defense, res plus X during combat. X equals current penalty on each of the unit's stats times 2. And unit makes a guaranteed follow-up attack. So there's the follow-up attack. Okay, so we have part of the plan. Essentially what this is going to do is it's going to inflict -8 attack, speed, and resistance on the foe, which is effectively +8 to all stats for Robin. Very good. Then you get an Omni effect. You get a Unity Omni effect. So you essentially get like Fallen Ike's weapon built into your A slot, which is really good because you already have Grand Strategy from your weapon. So you are essentially doubling down on Unity effects. So that's really, really, really powerful. That's a lot of stats you're going to be getting. And then you get a guaranteed follow-up attack, which means he's probably not the fastest, but you know, that's good. He's going to need that. We have Seal Attack 4, inflicts attack -4 on foe during combat. If no effect neutralizes penalties of foe's attack, inflicts penalty on foe's attack during combat equals 7 minus current penalty on foe's attack. And then if there is a penalty already active on foe's attack, you get guard. Okay, so it's pretty much the exact same as Seal Speed or Seal Resistance we've already gotten. It does give you quite a bit of bulk, right? Like you can get up to like -11 attack, just like the other two seals. Minus attack actually is pretty much plus resistance and plus defense. So it's kind of like you're double dipping in the stats. So that's actually pretty strong. It's going to make Robin pretty bulky. especially when you consider all the other stats that you're getting from your weapon and from your A slot. And then we also have cancel control. Cancel control just being there, that's cool. Man, how good is this unit going to be? It's really difficult to say because essentially what this unit is like the stat ball unit, right? Like they technically have some other effects too, right? You have fault denial and you have guaranteed fault attack yourself, which is pretty basic nowadays. Like even arcane weapons typically have that. But then after that, you're just getting a ton of stats, but you also have the supportive effect, right? You are also granting grand strategy to allies within 2 spaces, which makes them kind of like debuff proof in a sense. Not exactly, but close. So when it comes to roles, first and foremost, Robin is going to be a support unit, right? That grand strategy effect is really powerful, and being able to give it to your allies is really strong. Second, they're going to be a nuke-ish. I'm not sure exactly. I'm going to have to see their stats to see what they get. Maybe if you put special Spiral 4 on them, they could be more of a nuke, right? They do have slaying in their weapon, so you could get like a 2 cooldown special with like Times Pulse, or even not using Times Pulse necessarily. And then you can use something like Ruptured Sky with Special Spiral 4, or you could even go for something bigger like a Bonfire maybe with Special Spiral. That could be kind of cool. When it comes to tanks, I'm going to have to see, because like it comes down to just how many stats you have, right? Like Robin might have a ridiculous stat line, even as a mage, and then when you add all these stats on top of it, like maybe Robin's bulky enough where they just don't die to a lot of stuff, and then you can do some crazy nonsense. The one downside is, of course, is that you can't use a close counter skill with this unit because part of the plan is so much of their power. So if you really can't substitute that, but if you're using something like Might of the Myriads and Summoner Duels where you get close counter right, then this unit can be really, really strong. So in total, this unit can be like a support, a nuke, and possibly a tank as well, which is pretty good. Now, when it comes to game modes, it's really difficult to say where this unit will shine. I think as a support unit, you can use them in Aether Raid's offense. In Aether Raid's defense, maybe. Debuffs are pretty common, but not so common that you're going to really want to put Robin onto your Aether Raid's defense. And even then, he's only going to be able to be there during Earth season realistically, so probably not so much on Aether Raid's defense. In Summoner Duels, I could definitely see this unit putting in some work. Like, this could be very annoying, especially in Summoner Duel seasons where there are debuff captain skills. Like, this unit's going to completely capitalize on them. And if other units like Yoon, who has been showing up more often, is there, like, Robin can just go completely off. And at worst, you can just apply your own debuffs, right? Which could be really, really ridiculous. Like, imagine this unit with, like, Fallen Ike and Duo Chrom. And you pop Duo Chrom's, like, Duo skill. That's 3 layers of unity effects. That's going to make, like, any unit really, really powerful. Okay, here's our arena scoring tier list. At the top is all the dragons, of course. Now, the thing to remember with Robin is that every year around this time, the dual skill score increase goes up. So last year, went up to 190. It should be going to 195 with Robin, which means that Robin should be in the highest scoring bracket alongside the dragons, even though he doesn't get access to the Disencounter Dragon seal. Now, when it comes to the Earth Legendary tier list, it's much more difficult to say where he's going to land. He does seem to have pretty low speed, which means he can struggle to probably double and get kills. Even with something like Special Spiral 4, if you run like Hardy Fighter, you're probably not going to get a kill on the explosion, right, of the special going off. So it's difficult to say. The support can be very strong if you double down on debuffs, but if you're running into a team without debuffs, it's probably not going to be as good. It will still be good, but just not as amazing. So it's pretty difficult to say exactly where Robin will end up. So this is just my guess with absolutely no experience of actually playing him. I'd probably put him in S+ tier right next to Deirdre. Maybe he ends up passing Deirdre. Maybe he's even insane and he goes all the way past Nana and Alm 2. But I probably wouldn't see that just because he doesn't have a specific role he fulfills. He's more of a mix of tank, nuke, and support. But just remember, take this with a grain of salt, as I haven't played with Robin yet, so I haven't got to fully experience what he can do. Okay, now let's move on to the color analysis and talk about the overall banner and see if it's actually worth pulling here. Let's start off with green with Legendary Robin. So obviously Legendary Robin is going to be a powerful unit, like I was mentioning earlier, but he also comes with 2 other units, which is going to be Xander and Thor. Now, this pull is pretty decent, I'd say. Xander isn't the best legendary. He's good, but he's never like the top thing you're trying to pick. He can be good in Summoner Duels, and he can score really well in Arena, but even so, he's not my top choice for Axe Cav, so not the biggest pull for me. On the other hand, we have Thor, and I think Thor is a great mythic for Astra season, especially if you are going to go into that Gale Force. She can either be a great initiator, or she can just be a great support with Worldbreaker, offering that extra cooldown reduction. So overall, I would say the green pool is decent. Not absolutely amazing, we've definitely seen better pools than this before, but definitely not a bad place to spend some orbs. Next up, let's talk about colorless. I think colorless is actually a pretty solid share. First, you have Elamine, who's an amazing Astra Mythic, one of the best Astra Mythics in the game, and one of the best units in the game, to be honest. Fall Start's extremely powerful and lets you completely shut down catcher balls, and also just a ton of other effects like Times Pulse or Infantry Pulse. Just a very solid unit and a great unit to merge up for Astra season, especially if you are into more of a tanking strategy. Alongside that, we have Rion Grima, who's just a fantastic unit, right? She's currently in the Hero Rises Gauntlet right now to possibly get into that banner. And with this might actually hurt her chances a bit, but she's actually a fantastic unit. She's a phenomenal near save unit, one of the best in the game. She's also a pretty good far save, not the best, but very solid. And most importantly, she comes with a wealth of fodder. And she can also duplicate fodder because she's a Rion hero. She has a ton of value. If you can pick up some copies of her, she's going to do a lot to help out your account. And then lastly, we have Ashera, who is not the best Astro Mythic. I'm not going to lie to you. She does offer no panic, and she can nuke pretty hard, but she's definitely one of the weaker Astro Mythics compared to all the amazing options we do have. After that, we have the Blue Pool. Blue Pool is kind of mixed in my opinion. Legendary Female Byleth is a good unit. She can be very strong and put in some amazing damage, especially with something like Special Spiral 4, but she isn't the best scoring Legendary. And on the other hand, you have Legendary Faye, who is one of the best scoring Legendaries, but she's not the best unit. You're really not going to be using her that much outside of Arena unless you really love her and invest a ton into her. And then lastly, we have Saros, who is an Anima Mythic. Not really the unit you want to merge up, especially because she is such an older Anima Mythic. It doesn't really offer much to the team anymore. And then lastly, we have Red. Now, Red's a pretty mixed bag too, right? You have something like Shez, who can be a very strong unit and has great fodder, right? Has speed, defense, bulwark, and attack speed of 4, which is amazing, really, really good fodder. And then you have Gregor, who's also a pretty good unit and has some good fodder as well, like Infantry, No Follow-Up, and Solid Earth, which can be really good. But then you have Legendary Seliph, who is arguably the worst Legendary in the entire game. He's just completely trash and just is terrible. He's not the Legendary you want to be merging up. He doesn't score that well either nowadays. Personally, I think it goes like green and colorless are like pretty top at the tie, and then probably blue and red are under that, also kind of tied. It just depends on what you really need. If you're just going for merges, there are some good shares here, but they're not the best legendaries or mythics typically, other than like Elamine and Thor. Okay, let's answer the big question, should you pull? So the pros are, we do have a very powerful legendary here who is very unique and is going to offer some powerful support if you can make the most use of it, right? We also have some decent sharing in colors and green and red if you want to like really risk it and try to get past Legendary Seliph. The other thing you have to remember is that Robin will be scoring extremely high for legendaries, and because of the way they've changed Arena, he will be the bonus Arena legendary for an entire month. So if you do care about Arena, that is a good reason to pull, as you can easily stay in like tier 20 or tier 21 with just one copy of Robin. When it comes to cons, I'm going to be honest, this isn't the best legendary banner. The shares just aren't really that great, as there's always at least like one dud in each color that kind of holds it back from being amazing. We also have the Hero Rises voting gauntlet starting in a couple of days, and we will know the results of that voting gauntlet before this banner ends, which means that you will absolutely be able to know who will be on the Hero Rises banner, and if you should be saving orbs for that, or if you should be spending orbs here. The other thing is that we're getting new special heroes in March. We should be getting our Easter banner, so you can check that out as well before this comes out, and it's possible we get a new Heroes banner 2 weeks after that, which could be engaged. There is no guarantee, obviously, as we just got Radiant Dawn banner. That kind of surprised everyone, but you never know, so you might not want to spend orbs here unless you really love one of these characters, or they're possibly a merge project. Personally, I think this banner is one that you could skip pretty easily. I'll be going in for Spark, just getting one copy of Robin and probably getting out of there, as there's not really that much on this banner that I really want, where I feel like it's worth investing that many orbs. But now I'd love to hear from you. What do you think of Legendary Robin? I'm sure there's a ton of Awakening fans out there, and they are super happy that Robin has finally made it into the game as a legendary after so long. Make sure to leave a comment down below telling me what you think of this banner, and if you're going to be pulling, and if you are pulling, who you're going to be pulling for. Lastly, I'd love to thank the members once again for all their support and for helping making this video possible. If you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe. This has been Oblivion. I'll catch you all later with more Prime Heroes.